Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2 of Motivating Moments. I remember on the first episode, I forgot the name of the podcast. I'm so embarrassed. With us today, our special guest is he's a phenomenal actor slash baseball player from downriver, Taylor, Michigan. I've known him for about 15 years. I'll talk to you later about how we met. Garrett Theory, welcome to the show.
How's it going, Sean?
It's going great because the Kansas City Royals just eliminated the Baltimore Orioles. And do you
Yeah,
know,
right. That's so awesome. But I can't believe you're wearing that Royals jersey. I'm just gonna have to stay. I went to Wayne State in Detroit, so I got to stick with the Tigers on this.
do you know why the Royals won?
Why?
Because I didn't go to the games.
That is why.
And because they didn't play that MacArthur guy. Because he blew the save when we went 2 months ago. So today we're going to talk about a mental health topic, and we're going to talk about some of your small business ventures. But before we get into that, in honor of the Royals winning, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to just watch this quick 1 minute clip of the Royals manager on
Something that the organization has programs and has done a lot to support mental health awareness, and as it says, like, shut out the stigma, just have people more comfortable to talk about how they feel, and if they're not having a good day or good week, whatever, to seek out someone that they can talk to. I think more so than anything that's what the message is.
How important is bringing that message into the clubhouse? Like these guys who have, this is their workplace, but also there's a lot of pressure, as you talked about.
Yeah, I think that's a really big part of it, is that letting them know that whether they want to talk publicly or personally behind the scenes, there are resources. There's ways to just get things off your chest. There's ways to just kind of take some of the pressure off that they feel as a performer out here on the field or in their personal life too. Everybody goes through the same emotions, regardless of your job or your way of life, whatever it is. And for them to be able to have people within the organization that are willing to support and able to support is a big deal.
Hey, I don't know if you saw at the bottom of the screen that the Royals last year were 11 and 17 or 11 and 27. And now a year later they're in the playoffs. So this segues into our first question for Garrett.
Shoot.
As an elite athlete, how important is it that you have a good routine so that you can maintain resiliency?
Well, I like to consider myself a starting pitcher, and I feel like if you look at any quarterback or pitcher across the NFL and Major League Baseball, they all have rituals that they abide by, either game day and in preparation for the start. I mean, if you look at Trevor Bauer, he's been using the drive line plyometric balls ritualistically, since before his UCLA days and long tossing. But as for me, I'm very keen on weightlifting, and I have certain days throughout the week that coincide with my starting days that I use to do heavy leg day and then a lighter volume day, and I do it so that on game day my legs are peaking, so that I feel like they're at peak strength levels, peak strength and power levels, so that I'm not going into the game with like a half set of legs, you know what I mean? Yeah, and so throughout the week I have, Mondays my leg volume. Let's say I pitched on Sunday. My next day, I'm going to do a high volume leg day, very high volume, hundreds of repetitions. And I'm going to do some sprints that coincide with the number of innings that I pitched the day before. So 2 sprints for every inning I pitch after the volume legs. And then Tuesday is a chest, back, and shoulder day. And then Wednesday is a very heavy leg day. So that the theory for me, or what works for me, and I've found works for me, is that the volume leg day isn't very taxing on the central nervous system. It's kind of just like going through the motions, and it's kind of like a relaxing active rest day in my opinion. And then Wednesday I go to town. I'll do heavy Zercher squats, heavy deadlifts, and heavy lunges, whatever the main prime movements are for that day. And then because I've gone hard now 2 days in a row, Tuesday and Wednesday being my heavy day, lower body, upper body. Thursday is kind of like an active rest day. I may just go into the gym, light movement, maybe a light hike or stretch. And I let my body completely reset. And that's my Thursday. And then Friday, I love a heavy back and chest day again. So if I'm pitching on Sunday, Saturday is just movement, flexibility, nothing taxing, light jogging, making sure everything's firing right. And then I go back out and start again on Sunday. Obviously, that's not a major league, the routine of a starter who's I'd have to actually see the schedule to fill in how my lifting schedule would be, but I could very, very well do that. And I learned my weightlifting methodology. It was actually very similar to Tom House. So Tom House is like, one of the most well-known pitching and quarterback coaches all time. So when I went to a camp in Columbus, Ohio, I actually learned from him. I learned that what I was doing was right in line with most major league starters. So it was cool to see.
We'll put Garrett's Instagram in the comments so you guys can see some of his workouts. They're insane how viral some of your workout shorts have gone.
Thank you. I had a broken hand from getting hit by two fastballs in 3 weeks back in June, and I'm really hoping going into 2025 I can really hit some new strength numbers that new PRs. So I feel like I'm starting to reach my athletic potential now. And I'm not going to let the broken hand be a setback. So
one question I wanted to ask you was, a few years back at one of the baseball camps, you hung with the AA prospects, but nobody offered you a tryout. So can you talk about how important it is to be persistent, not give up, stay at tip-top elite athlete shape because you believe that you were meant to be a professional baseball player and you're not giving up?
so that's a tough one.
Yeah,
So
because you are sticking with the system, and we're
well,
gonna get you on an indie team because we learned. Tell me about what happened with the Rancho GM.
oh yeah, so I called into Rancho Cucamonga. I learned where Clayton Kershaw was rehabbing, and I was like, oh, that's close to where I live. So I could commute there and pitch once or twice a week or hang out with the team just to be around other great ball players, young up and coming great ball players, because they're hungry. I'm hungry. So I want to be around like-minded people. So I call in, I get the GM's number from someone in the organization. And I introduced myself, and he's like, well, we don't handle any of that. He goes, that's the Dodgers handle that. And so if you're not affiliated with the Dodgers, if you've not been drafted by the Dodgers, then you really have no chance. So right there, they don't even hold open tryouts. So that means if you weren't drafted young, even if you're the best athlete to ever live, not that I am, but like, let's say you're the greatest, you're Paul Skeen's younger brother, and they just missed you because you didn't go through the formal draft procedure. You can't walk onto a team, which to me is a huge I think they're missing opportunities because there's so many great athletes that exist in modern times that have learned from the internet, and I feel could be playing professional level, and they're out there, and the system's keeping them out, and it's not fair.
I'm I'm actually trying to pull up a YouTube video
Well, the clip you
Pay
sent me, that
attention.
guy that was just chumping 100 miles an hour in a routine men's rec league. There's a lot of guys out here now that are going 95 to 100. And I'll be honest, 10 years ago, when I first learned how to, like, it was maybe even a little more than 10 years ago, when Top Velocity and Driveline and all these different Tread Athletics is a new one, but when all these new schools of thought were coming out in biomechanics and kinematic sequencing, I started learning the high velocity mechanics, and I've been to camps where they're like, if you can just show you throw 93 or 95, you can sign. And it's like that's changed. I don't think that's a thing. And I've always wondered, why are there starters in the major league who can't even throw 90?
Kyle Hendricks.
Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs. But he was offered like a $10 million contract. And they're like, oh, well, these are his numbers and this and that. And it's like, okay, so why are you making him an exception to everybody else out there? What's special about him? Because he's not special. So why is he being given why does he get the a special privilege? Because if I saw him on the street, I just think he's a bum, to be honest. So
All right, I'm gonna share my screen because I brought up your video. Here we go.
oh, let me go get your autograph, Mr. Hendricks. You've never been thrown a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Woo! Oh,
Oh, that's a cool clip. Oh, thank you, Sean.
oh, you're welcome.
Oh, this
Don't
was the
thank
day.
me.
This was the day I broke my hand.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I had a no-hitter. I had actually threw a no-hitter through 5. It was almost a perfect game, but I hit somebody with 2 strikes in the 5th, and then I struck out the next guy. So
Yeah, that's sports. You're always risking getting hurt. Like Starling Marte, he's always getting hurt.
I mean, being a starting pitcher, everything has to be firing properly. Any little inconvenience, and you're not going to be able to perform. So
I think it's really important that because you and I both know how important it is to build relationships because you go to all these networking events, as do I, and you meet people along the way. And this is going to segue into how you and I met. Do you want to set the scene or should I set the scene?
I mean, no, I mean, keep going on the school of talk, the school of thought you were on, and then I'll jump in when it's appropriate.
Okay. Well, back in 2010, Michigan got the Hollywood to come shoot movies because of tax breaks. So we were shooting this movie with Clive Owen, directed by David Schwimmer,
Right.
and Garrett and I signed up to be extras. I was an extra at the airport, and you were an extra at one of the party scenes. So we weren't even in the same scene, but in that big.
No, I was in this. I was in the airport scene.
Oh, see, I didn't even know you were
No, I
there.
was in the airport scene. No. But still, the point is that the film industry was in Michigan at the time. There were movies shooting in downtown. I believe there we were at U of M's campus in an engineering building, right?
I think we were in an old Pfizer plant
Was it Pfizer?
or an
I don't,
office
we were in
building.
Ann Arbor though, right? It was Ann
Yeah.
Arbor. No,
Oh, yeah.
and so yeah, and I had always wanted to move to Los Angeles and pursue acting and entertainment, and you never know who you're going to meet on film sets. So I saw this guy studying really hard, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm studying to be an actuary. I'm like, did you elaborate? I was still like in the final stages of my undergrad, so it was something for me to learn because I was in business school. So
Yeah, and if you had met me the year before when I was on the set of Red Dawn, they actually put pictures in the newspaper of me studying for the ASICS supply chain group.
yeah.
But the caption said I was practicing the script. It's like, I'm an extra. I have no lines. I didn't have a script. I'm just studying supply chain. And now here I am, 15 years later, a data scientist doing a podcast with my friends talking about mental health and small businesses, which
Oh yeah,
leads
you
us
brought
into
up
our next topic. Go ahead.
no small businesses. I'm all ears.
I want to know about how in the world did Garrett Theory get to number one on Google when you search? What do you search, Garrett?
Successful film marketing is one of them, and then another one is um, best films or top films made during COVID.
If anyone is watching this in 2024 or 2025 and they have a film that needs to be marketed, this is your man right here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So,
we'll put that
so
link
I
in
have
there.
I have a master's degree in marketing, and you have a master's degree in data analytics. So I guess if we really put our heads together, we could make some cool things happen. But uh, the search engines, they may change in the future, but they respond to an acronym known as EAT, which it's experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And when your web domain, website, content, and everything about it represents that better than anything else with the given keywords and long tail phrasing, uh, they recognize your authority and you get higher placement. So I have a business partner that owns that started a company called Savant Artists. He was a film professor at the University of Southern California for 10 years and a little bit at UCLA. So, and all of our film clients were some of the, not all of our film clients, but many of our film clients were, writers, directors, major names in entertainment. And then we had write-ups in different entertainment publications like Hollywood Reporter. All my blog articles have a little bit of a leg up on somebody who maybe doesn't know anyone directly within the entertainment industry. So that's and so I whenever I sign a new client, I look for unique ways to write about the themes and concepts within their film and try and find new ways to just have the search engines recognize the article I write. So
And we're going to go into business. So by the time that we post this video, I should have gotten through at least the first week of videos for the class I'm taking. We have some big goals and projects for 2025, don't we? Do you want to
about
cover?
the real estate side, or
Yeah. Do you
oh,
want to cover it all? You don't have to talk about it. We only have about 6 or 8 more minutes in the show.
well,
But if you want to talk about how important it is to have goals, short term and long term, because I was never one to set goals.
well, so you know, it's really crazy because goals are unique to you. It could be, it could be health and fitness goals, it could be personal goals, it could be educational goals, certifications, anything. But in my master's program, marketing thrives on SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And I've always used those in the gym, like with a specific lift. Like last year, I'll give you an example. My bench was still is kind of flat. Like I might bench I was benching like 275 for one, maybe two reps. And I was like, by the end of this year, I want to bench by the end of but going into 2024, I wanted to be repping 275 for 5 sets of 5. And I gave myself about a 4 to 6 months window to achieve it. And I hit it. I hit it 2 weeks early. And I feel like human beings are hardwired to accomplish tasks. And when you write it down and it's right in front of you and you see it, like you fight for it. So
I'm glad you said that because it doesn't count unless it's written down.
Yeah, I mean, and if you look at my lifting, if you go to my Instagram, I have over 4,000 posts now, and if you see the progress I made, I've gone through different evolutions in my training too, because when you're young, you want to be big and strong, and you want to deadlift 700 pounds, you want to bench 400, and all these huge, crazy numbers like a power lifter. But then in the journey, you find out that to do that, your body undergoes like physiological adaptations that aren't necessarily conducive to athletic performance. So lifting more might translate to decreased athletic output. So that's where you have to learn about mobility, range and motion, and you want fluid, explosive muscles, especially as a pitcher or a hitter in the major league. You want loose hips. You want to be able to transfer energy through your kinetic chain as efficiently and effectively as possible, so that your velocity almost looks effortless. Like I've had people go, doesn't even look like you're trying to throw, and the ball just like explodes out of your hand. And that's because your kinetic chain's wired properly. Your parasympathetic nervous systems is responding. You're not overtrained. Like all these things you have to learn as a young athlete. Um, that's why I feel like the best quarterbacks and the best pitchers, I think their peak maturity is somewhere between 33 and 36. And so it's somewhere in that window. Like if you look at Randy Johnson's career, he put it all together after 35 years old. And then he was some of the greatest seasons ever put together. And it's because everything clicked for him. And doesn't matter how many people were in his ear, how much stuff he had heard, until he embodies what and understands it, he wasn't going to be able to perform it. And it clicked for him almost 40 years old. So
Justin Verlander won the Cy Young when he was 38.
right. So that again, like, and larger men typically, like, it takes a little longer for them physically to have all the tools and everything. And Randy Johnson, I think, was 6'10". So all of it came together, like I said, between 35 and 40 for these guys. And it's like, that's why, why would you tell a young athlete who's gifted and maybe a little bit goofy in his 20s to give up on his dream? Because life without passion or like purpose, like what are you going to do? You're going to go home and just watch baseball? Why not go to the gym? Why not work on yourself? Why not develop yourself? And yeah, oh, it's selfish, but it's like, what are you supposed to watch life go by? Or are you going to put time into yourself and use the gift that God gave you, and learn and understand as much as you can about your being, about how your machine operates? And no one can take that gift away from you, because no one can take away your ability to improve and understand yourself. So that's my thing. Like, I would never tell a young athlete who's in his 20s to give up. I would say you don't become a man until you're like 35. I was like, you're not even going to hit your peak athletic output until you're like 35. Why are you gonna quit at 27? Why? You don't even know what you're capable of yet. It's the road less traveled. You might have to forego having a family young and all these things, but I feel like, hey, in my experience of what I'm witnessing out here, relationships ebb and flow, and without that passion and purpose to keep you driving forward towards something in your journey, life has no meaning for you. You need that sense of meaning. I would tell that to any young guy or girl, but young guy more specifically.
That's very inspirational. I want to thank you for being our guest today. I'm probably going to post this Saturday night because, and John told me that YouTube likes consistency. So I can't just post it when we record
So are you
because
posting
YouTube will be
every
mad.
Saturday night?
Is that the plan?
I'm asking you.
I think if I post it Saturday night, then people can tune in Sunday and see what we're talking about.
I'm a little bit sad because, I'm not pitching this coming Sunday. I have an oblique strain, back to the whole injury thing. So I think I'm going to take the the fall off and just rebuild my core and hopefully come out the best I ever have this spring. So
Yeah, well, hopefully we execute our plan and you'll make that extra income so that you can start doing the proper nutrition and
Oh, you
everything you
mean
need to get
showing up
ready.
in spring training with my own rented out hotel next to the field?
Yeah, I have a couple ideas after the call that I wanted to run by you that might actually be a future show. Before I go crazy and start buying stuff online. Yeah. Uh, we also need to work on getting my friend Christy to write music for the show. She told me to just use some of her songs, but I don't have the license. And we want to get some sponsors as well. Yeah. We've got a pretty good lineup coming up. I've networked with a lot of people. So we'll
I'm
never be
excited.
short on guests.
I won't say the name on the real estate thing we're doing, but it's gonna sounds like a fun time.
Oh yeah, we'll probably never get those guys to be on the podcast, but if we're lucky, we'll be guests on his podcast.
That would be very cool. I feel like we could tap into some new numbers from a different market they may not have shown videos on yet. So
Yeah, so I'm sure you'll be on more podcasts. There's a lot of other topics we didn't have time today to talk about. Um, I'm I'm specifically thinking about the story from your youth and how your grandma saved your life. I want to hear that on the next one.
oh
So,
yeah,
yeah, you'll be back soon.
we can tap into that. And then maybe on the next like it's interesting whenever I go out now, everybody thinks I'm either a bodyguard, I'm Jason Momoa's brother, or some wild thing. I just, when I'm just in, in Hollywood or like, in the Valley, which is just north of Hollywood, I can't really go show up anywhere without kind of some interesting response from people. But I feel like it's because of my habits and my drive to be better than I was yesterday. So
Yep, and we'll put all your Instagram and LinkedIn's, Facebooks in the comments.
we could show like I could throw together like a 15-second clip of some of the craziest stuff I've done. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you compare me to a power lifter, it's nothing. But if you compare me to a baseball player, like that's why it's so hard to draw comparisons between athletes.
Yeah.
But like when you look at my lifts compared to actors and athletes, like I'm doing things that very few people, even in the NFL, are capable of. So
did you want to do the link to those, or did you want to just add it to this video?
oh, we could just do a clip. I don't have it
Yeah, let's
now.
do a clip. Yeah, we'll set it up. You got till Saturday. Thank you. All right, everybody, that was Motivating Moments, episode number 2 with my best friend, Garrett Theory. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Heart of a champion. You understand me? Ain't never how you start. Ain't never how you start. It's always how you finish.
Let me tell you something. If tomorrow wasn't promised, what would you give for today? Forget everything else. Forget everything else. Forget that there was any sunlight left. What would you spend today thinking about? Yourself or the man that's beside you? Or the man that you know you'll give everything in your heart for? We get one opportunity in life. One chance in life to do whatever you're gonna do. To lay your foundation, to make whatever mark you're gonna make. Whatever legacy you're gonna leave your legacy. And it's found through effort. Wins and losses come a dime a dozen. But effort, nobody can judge effort. Because effort is between you and you. Effort ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. So that team that think they're ready to see you, they think what they seen on film, they ain't saw what film shows. Because every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. So now you got to go out and show them that I'm a different creature now than I was 5 minutes ago. Because I'm pissed off for greatness. Because if you ain't pissed off for greatness, that means you okay with being mediocre. Ain't no man in here okay with being just basic. So let's do what we do tonight.
Sir.
We ain't got to worry about taking no breaks. Don't worry about taking no breaks. When it's your time, it's your time. Whatever you want to go do it. Nobody determines that but you. I figured something out. And it's no secret what I figured out. But whatever majority of people was doing, I found myself doing the opposite of what they used to do. Because I wanted to chase something great. You know what the hardest thing to do is? Is to do it when nobody ain't watching. What do you do when you go home? How much time do you spend with that basketball when you're by yourself? You gotta start being kids again. To where you don't get tired. You don't know what being tired is. That's what I got inside of me. That's why I can never get tired. Because I got something burning inside of me. Kid, all over again. I can't get tired. We can't take breaks. I work out over 5 times a day. For one simple reason. I don't like where I once was. I didn't like where I once was. So I promised myself, I promised my mom, I promised my sisters, I promised my city, I won't be back there. That's what I'm asking each one of y'all right now. What's the difference in you and the man sitting beside you? What's the difference of your mindset and everybody else's mindset in this city? It's gotta be different. It's gotta be different. You gotta be hungry for it. When you come in this gym, you got to put everything you got on the court. Everything, every second. Let's have fun. Lead your team. Lead your team. Get that fire in your eyes. Light that fire early. Keep moving. Keep moving. You know you got to touch the ball early. Let's go. Early. Don't get this again. The clock runs too fast. That's why we got to savor these moments. Because they right now. I couldn't understand that when I was 24 and 25. That's why God had to incarcerate me so I could see how great my blessing was that he had for me. So I had to come from a jail cell being in position to then step on a Super Bowl podium, man. I don't do this for me. I watch enough film so I can put myself in position to make my defense the best defense in damn football. That's why I come back every year. Heart of a champion. You understand me? Ain't never how you start. Ain't never how you start. It's always how you finish. That's the way we finish football games. You understand what I'm saying? That's the way you pull your team through when your team needs you. You understand?
I'm trying to tell y'all, God has never made a mistake. He's never made one mistake. All right? So it ain't about one play. It ain't about nothing.